Imagine a man so wealthy that his generosity disrupted entire economies. This was Mansa Musa, the ruler of the Mali Empire. On his legendary pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, he traveled with an entourage of 60,000 people and so much gold that he inadvertently caused inflation across multiple regions. His unimaginable wealth, amassed from controlling Mali's gold and salt trade, earned him the title of the wealthiest person in history. By today's standards, Mansa Musa's fortune would be worth more than the combined wealth of the richest individuals in the world, making him possibly the wealthiest person to ever live. Mansa Musa is a historical figure whose story has fascinated generations for centuries. Born about 1280 and becoming the 10th Mansa, or king of the Mali Empire in 1312. His wealth is said to have surpassed anything the world had ever seen, or has ever seen since. Musa ruled over the Mali Empire during its golden age, an empire that spanned vast swaths of West Africa, including modern-day Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, and Mauritania. His fortune was built on Mali's abundance of natural resources, especially its rich gold mines. Mali was one of the largest producers of gold in the medieval world, and it controlled the vital trade routes that funneled this gold to the Mediterranean and beyond. Mansa Musa also harnessed the salt trade, a commodity as valuable as gold during his time. Through his control of these lucrative industries, Musa amassed wealth on a scale that was virtually incomprehensible even in his own era, and it continues to baffle historians today. Beyond his immense wealth, Mansa Musa was a devout Muslim, known for his piety and dedication to spreading Islamic education. He became famous across the known world after his pilgrimage to Mecca, a journey that brought attention not only to his extraordinary fortune, but also to the cultural and religious achievements of the Mali Empire. To understand how Mansa Musa became the wealthiest man in history, we must look at the origins of the Mali Empire. Located in West Africa, the Mali Empire was founded by Sundiata Keita in 1235 after he successfully united several small kingdoms in the region. The empire quickly rose to prominence, benefiting from its control over key trade routes that connected the interior of Africa to the Mediterranean and the Middle East. These trade routes were the lifeblood of the empire, carrying goods such as gold, salt, ivory, and slaves. Mali's wealth was largely derived from its abundant natural resources. Gold, in particular, was Mali's greatest asset. The gold mines of Bambouk and Boer were some of the richest in the world, producing vast quantities of gold that were exported to North Africa and beyond. At the same time, salt, which was mined in the Sahara Desert, was in high demand and fetched exorbitant prices in the markets of West Africa and the Mediterranean. By controlling both the supply of gold and salt, the Mali Empire dominated the region's economy. When Mansa Musa ascended to the throne in 1312, the empire was already a formidable power. However, his reign would take Mali to new heights, both in terms of wealth and influence. Musa inherited not only the throne but also control over the vast trade networks that stretched across the Sahara and into the Arab world. With a combination of strategic military conquests and astute diplomacy, Musa expanded his empire, adding important cities like Timbuktu and Gao to his realm. These cities became key centers of trade and Islamic scholarship under his rule, further enhancing Mali's prestige. Mansa Musa's reign is best known for his legendary pilgrimage to Mecca, which took place in 1324. At the time, Mali was one of the wealthiest empires in the world, and Musa sought to display both his devotion to Islam and his empire's grandeur on this journey. The scale of his pilgrimage was unprecedented. He traveled with an entourage of 60,000 people, including soldiers, slaves, and officials, as well as hundreds of camels carrying enormous quantities of gold. It is estimated that he brought with him around 18 tons of gold to distribute along the way. The impact of Musa's journey was felt in every city he passed through, but it was particularly significant in Cairo, Egypt, where he stayed for several months. In Cairo, Musa's generosity became legendary. He handed out gold to the poor, gave extravagant gifts to local officials, and spent lavishly on goods and services. His spending was so excessive that it caused a sharp drop in the value of gold, leading to inflation that affected the Egyptian economy for more than a decade. This is one of the few instances in history where an individual's wealth had such a profound effect on a regional economy. It is said that Musa eventually realized the damage he had done and tried to buy back some of the gold, but the effects of his spending spree were irreversible. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage also had a significant impact on the Mali Empire itself. Along the way, he forged diplomatic and economic ties with other Muslim states, enhancing Mali's reputation as a wealthy and powerful empire. He also attracted the attention of scholars and architects from the Islamic world, many of whom he brought back to Mali with him. These scholars helped Musa establish centers of learning in cities like Timbuktu and Gao, where they taught Islamic law, mathematics, astronomy, and other subjects. Timbuktu, in particular, became a major center of Islamic scholarship under Mansa Musa's patronage. The University of Sankore, which Musa helped to develop, attracted students and scholars from across Africa and the Muslim world. Timbuktu became a city of legendary status, often referred to as the City of Gold in European accounts, though its true wealth lay in its intellectual and cultural contributions. Musa's investment in education helped solidify Mali's role as a center of learning and culture for centuries to come. Musa also invested in architecture, commissioning the construction of grand mosques and palaces throughout his empire. One of the most famous examples of his architectural patronage is the Jingareber Mosque in Timbuktu, which still stands today as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Musa's buildings were not only religious centers but also symbols of his empire's wealth and power. Although Mansa Musa's reign is often associated with wealth and prosperity, it was not without challenges. Managing a vast empire as diverse as Mali required considerable skill. The empire was made up of numerous ethnic groups and languages, each with its own customs and traditions. Keeping these groups united under one rule was a delicate balancing act. Musa had to maintain control over distant provinces, some of which were prone to rebellion or external threats from rival kingdoms. One of the significant challenges Musa faced came from the neighboring Songhai people. The Songhai had been vassals of the Mali Empire, but during Musa's reign, they began to assert their independence. This was particularly true in the city of Gao, which Musa eventually conquered and brought under direct Malian control. However, the Songhai would continue to be a thorn in Mali's side, and after Musa's death, they would eventually rise to prominence and eclipse the Mali Empire. Musa also had to deal with the logistical challenges of governing such a large empire. Communication across vast distances was difficult, and Musa relied on a network of governors called emirs to manage the various provinces. These governors were responsible for collecting taxes, maintaining order, and ensuring the flow of trade. Musa created a system of honors and rewards to incentivize loyalty among his officials. But even with these measures in place, managing such a sprawling empire was a constant challenge. Internally, Musa had to contend with occasional unrest from within his empire. For example, the miners in the southern parts of Mali went on strike in response to Musa's attempts to convert them to Islam. The miners were responsible for producing the gold that made Mali so wealthy, and they resented Musa's interference in their religious practices. Recognizing the importance of their work to the empire's economy, Musa wisely chose to reverse his decree, allowing the miners to continue practicing their traditional beliefs. This decision not only avoided a potential conflict, but also demonstrated Musa's pragmatism and ability to govern with flexibility. The impact of Mansa Musa's reign was profound and long-lasting. Under his rule, the Mali Empire reached its zenith, both in terms of wealth and influence. His control of the gold and salt trade made Mali one of the richest empires in the world, and his investment in education, culture, and architecture left a lasting legacy that would endure long after his death. Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca had far-reaching consequences, not only for Mali but for the broader world. His display of wealth and power brought global attention to the Mali Empire, making it known throughout Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. European cartographers of the time began to include Mali on their maps, often depicting Mansa Musa himself holding a gold nugget, symbolizing the empire's wealth. The most famous of these maps is the Catalan Atlas, created in 1375, which includes an illustration of Mansa Musa as a figure of immense wealth and influence. Mansa Musa's influence extended beyond his lifetime. His dedication to building schools, mosques, and libraries helped establish Mali as a center of Islamic learning and culture. The University of Sankore in Timbuktu became one of the most important intellectual centers in the Muslim world, and Timbuktu itself became a symbol of African wealth and scholarship. Even today, Timbuktu's name is synonymous with a distant and mysterious place of great riches. However, after Mansa Musa's death in 1337, the Mali Empire gradually began to decline. His son, Megan, inherited the throne, but lacked his father's political and military acumen. Under Megan's rule, the empire began to lose control over some of its territories, and internal conflicts weakened the central authority. By the late 15th century, the once mighty Mali Empire had fragmented into smaller kingdoms, and its influence faded as the Songhai Empire rose to prominence. Despite the decline of the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa's legacy as the wealthiest man in history remains. His story continues to capture the imagination of people around the world, serving as a testament to the incredible wealth and cultural achievements of medieval Africa. Mansa Musa's life and reign offer a fascinating glimpse into a time when Africa was home to some of the most powerful and wealthy empires in the world. Musa's extraordinary wealth, built on the back of Mali's gold and salt trade, made him one of history's most iconic figures. Yet his legacy extends beyond his wealth. His contributions to education, architecture, and culture transformed Mali into a beacon of learning and a hub of Islamic scholarship. Musa's story is a reminder that Africa's history is rich with stories of powerful empires, great leaders, and significant cultural achievements. His pilgrimage to Mecca not only solidified his reputation as the wealthiest man ever, but also brought the Mali Empire into the global spotlight. Through his reign, Mansa Musa left an indelible mark on history, and his legacy continues to inspire awe and admiration to this day. If you enjoyed this video, you might like the one on the screen. Thanks for watching.